Let's be real. You can't go anywhere these days without hearing about artificial intelligence. And it all seems to boil down to one huge question. What's it going to do to our jobs? It's a topic that's filled with both these amazing opportunities and, frankly, a lot of fear. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and separate the hype from what's actually happening.
You know, it feels like the ground is just constantly shifting under our feet. For so many of us, this brings up some real uncertainty. You start asking yourself, am I keeping up? Are the skills I've spent years building about to become obsolete? And look, that feeling is totally normal, because the world of work really is changing, and it's changing fast.
So let's start by tackling the biggest fear head-on. You know what I'm talking about. All those scary headlines about mass unemployment with intelligent machines coming for everyone's jobs.
This is it, the big one, the question that's on literally everyone's mind. It's so simple, so direct, and for a lot of people, pretty terrifying. But the truth is, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's way more complicated and honestly, way more interesting than that.
Let's just start with a number that makes all that concern feel very, very real. 300 million. A report from Goldman Sachs predicts that AI could replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs around the world. I mean, a number that big is impossible to ignore. It signals a potentially massive shift in how we work.
And this isn't some far-off sci-fi future we're talking about. The experts are saying this disruption is coming, and it's coming soon. The World Economic Forum thinks 85 million jobs could be replaced by 2025. By 2030, McKinsey figures about 14% of us might need to switch careers entirely. And then, just a few years later, PwC suggests up to 30% of all jobs could be automated. The pace here is just breathtaking.
Okay, so take a breath. Those numbers are huge, I get it. But is that the whole story? Are entire professions just going to vanish into thin air? This is where we need to get a little more nuanced, because the reality is less about job replacement and a lot more about job transformation. It's about tasks, not entire roles.
This quote nails it perfectly. The key is understanding the difference between a task and a job. Think about it. Your job isn't one single thing, right? It's made up of dozens, maybe hundreds of different tasks. AI is getting incredibly good at automating the repetitive, boring ones. It's a tool that frees us up from the tedious stuff, so we can focus on the work that requires real brain power. Check this out. This table shows you exactly what that partnership looks like. Take something like research. AI can automate like 70 to 80% of the grunt work of gathering data. But what does that leave for the human? The fun part, strategic analysis, connecting the dots. Now look down at the bottom, content planning. See how low the automation is? That's because it needs strategic vision and a deep understanding of people, things that are, for now, uniquely human.
And this isn't just a theory. A recent survey found that over 75% of creative professionals, the very people you might think are most at risk, do not think AI is a threat to their job. Isn't that wild? They see what's coming, but they're not scared. They see it as an evolution of what they do.
So the picture that's starting to emerge is one of collaboration. The new model isn't human versus AI, it's human plus AI. The machine handles the routine stuff, but we provide the context, the interpretation, and the strategic thinking that AI just can't do.
Which, of course, brings us to the most important part of all of this. If our roles are changing, what do we actually need to do to keep up? What are the new skills and maybe even the new jobs that are popping up in this new AI world?
Okay, here it is. This is the new toolkit for the modern professional. And you'll notice it's a mix of two things. On one hand, yeah, you've got the tech skills. You need to understand AI and big data. But look at everything else on this list. Analytical thinking, creativity, resilience, curiosity. These aren't skills that compete with AI. They're skills that work with AI.
And this evolution is creating jobs that honestly didn't even exist a few years ago. Take the prompt engineer. This is a perfect example of a new career path that's all about that human-machine collaboration. It's about knowing how to talk to an AI to get the best possible results out of it. It's part artist, part scientist, and 100% a job of the future.
So what does this all look like in the real world? Well, on one side, you've got roles that are heavy on repetitive, predictable tasks. Think data entry or bookkeeping. Those are definitely more at risk of automation. But on the other side, jobs that demand empathy, creativity, and complex human connection, like teachers, therapists, and artists. The pattern is pretty clear. The more a job relies on being human, the safer it is.
Now, it's really important that we have a balanced conversation here. This story isn't all about cool new jobs and seamless adaptation. There are some very serious challenges and ethical problems with this transition that we absolutely have to talk about.
Yeah, a really critical point is that the impact of AI is not going to be felt equally by everyone. It could actually make existing divides even wider. Workers who don't have access to training or can't afford to learn new technical skills could easily be left behind, which just makes economic inequality worse.
And that leads us to this other, kind of hidden dark side of the AI revolution, a phenomenon that's been called ghost work. This is the invisible human labor that actually powers a lot of these AI systems. The people who are labeling data, moderating content, and basically teaching the machines how to think.
This quote really drives the point home. This ghost work isn't just boring. It can be psychologically damaging. I mean, can you imagine having to review violent or hateful content all day, every day, just to train a content moderation algorithm? People doing this work can suffer from real trauma, all while being completely invisible. It's a massive ethical challenge we can't just sweep under the rug.
So, where does all this leave us? We've looked at the fear, the reality, the new skills you're going to need, and the very real human costs. The last piece of the puzzle is, well, what do we do now? How do we actively shape this future of work instead of just letting it happen to us?
This right here is the main takeaway. We have to move past this simple black and white fear of being replaced. The real conversation is about evolution. AI is fundamentally changing how we work, and the real question is how we manage that change thoughtfully and ethically. Okay, so let's get practical. What's your personal strategy? First, you gotta be flexible. Stay open to new roles. Second, double down on your people skills. Empathy, communication, those are your new superpowers. Third, you have to become a lifelong learner. Curiosity is your absolute best friend. And finally, don't be afraid of AI. Learn how to use it, make it your collaborator to make yourself even more valuable. And that leaves us with this final, massive question. The technology is here. It will reshape our work. The technical problems are being solved as we speak. Now we're left with the human questions. Who is all this incredible progress actually going to benefit? How do we make sure that the gains are shared widely and that the costs aren't all paid by the most vulnerable among us? The future isn't something that just happens. It's something we build, and that is the real conversation we all need to be having.